I now applied to daily sketch. So I started to work with the sketch. At a point in time, sketch was almost getting collapsed. And you know, in journalism, for every higher institution I attended, I sponsor myself. At a point in time, I was a student at Ambrose Ali University, Abeokuta campus. But along the line, that was the challenge. Talking about my relationship with Baba Sanjo, Baba, while he was speaking, said many things, but there are two issues or two vital comments. I work at Searchlight newspaper, Daily Times, Post Express. I also work at Premium Times. It was the Premium Times online newspaper I worked last before I established my own organization known as Penpushing Media. I was now thinking of who and who to be accommodated in that platform. The first person I called was the former governor of Ogun State, who is also a veteran journalist, Olusegun Shoba. I recall when he was the governor, Professor, during the June 12 crisis. So I was moving towards home. There was no vehicle, trekking. I was stopped at the junction by some students. Who are you? I said I'm a journalist. Before I knew anything, it was a merciless beating. It was at that stage. They said, let's go, this one done that. My name is Dimeji Kayode Adedeji. I am an Ijesha man. At the same time, an Egba man. How do I mean? My father is from Elisha in Osun State. My mother is from Abeokuta in Ogun State. I started to develop interest in journalism right from my secondary school days. And in those days, while we were in the class, I will make what I will call a makeshift microphone using cardboard to build a look-alike microphone. And I'll be going around the class one way or the other to disturb my colleagues, telling them I want to engage them in interview. So it's a job I've developed interest in since my days in secondary school. And I said it openly that I have never thought of any other profession than journalism in my life. You know, normally people will have options. So I want to do medicine, I want to be an accountant, I want to be a lawyer, start making decisions which one you want to be. But in my own case, I have never for a second have any other contrary view about journalism. While I was in secondary school, like I said, because of the passion for the job then, I used part of my money, that is my pocket money, to buy newspapers, which I normally read. In those days, I recall that we have newspapers like Nigerian Tribune, Daily Times, Daily Sketch, Drum, Ikebe Super, and host of others. Then at a point within that period, I started writing a letter to Daily Sketch. There's a column they call Letters to the Editor. The column is meant for views of the people, where you x-ray, you analyze any information within your surroundings or outside as well. So I've been doing that. When I sent that's one of my write-up to the Daily Sketch, the headquarters in Ibadan. By the time I opened the newspaper the following day, I saw my name. I was so much excited that I put something down and it was published in the newspaper. So that further gingered me up that I should continue. So I continued in that way. Then thereafter, after my secondary education, you know, in those days, I would say it was a period that things are still very normal in this country. When you finish secondary school, you can easily get jobs in many places. You now decide which of the organizations you want to work with. Unfortunately for me, my mother got a job for me at the State Hospital Management Board, and I was posted to State Hospital Shokeni there. I was working there as a clerk, clerical officer. Later, I was posted to State Hospital Diaba, which is now Federal Medical Center. That place was owned by the Ogun State government before it was now transformed to Federal Medical Center. I was working there, and as at that time, I've started earning salary, so I have the opportunity to continue to buy those newspaper on my own. So I continue buying newspaper, continue writing. So there was a day I look around at the hospital. There was no fence. Then I picked my paper, I picked my biro, and I wrote something about that hospital that has no fence, the danger associated with hospital without fence. As usual, I forwarded to Daily Sketch. To my astonishment, the following day, when I opened the paper, the following day, I saw that write-up. I was equally excited again. Now, other thing that got me more happier and happier is that I recall that period, the governor of the state then was a military governor, and the commissioner for health that year was Mr. Shogo Kunle. To my amazement, the governor read that my report in the Daily Sketch, and thereafter instructed the commissioner, summoned on the commissioner, and they give instruction that the hospital should be fenced. And that very day, that state hospital, which is now FMC, was fenced and ran. Work started that very day. So I was happy that I put something in the newspaper and it became something more valuable, not only to me alone, to the general public. So it was because of that my write-up that that hospital was fenced. And to God be the glory, each time I pass through that area, I'm always happy that it was my work that paved way for the fence of that hospital till today. If you pass through that hospital, if you see that fence there, it was as a result of my write-up in those years. So I continue in that spirit. One day I was in the office. I was going through newspaper when I saw advert from Nigeria Institute of Journalism Ogba in Ikeja, Lagos State. It was an application for admission. Then I just thought that as much as I've shown interest in this profession and I don't have academic knowledge about it, I said, let me try this school, maybe I will have my way there. It was at that stage I picked the form. Then I did something when I picked the form. By the time I was filling my form, all my write-ups that has been published from the sketch, then I attached it to my form and forwarded my application. You know, the situation in the country that you must know people before you get things done. But in my own case, that period, I just forwarded my application. I don't know who to contact to assist in terms of grading admission. But to my surprise, about 2 weeks thereafter, a courier man just came asking for me. And immediately he saw me. He told me I have a parcel. I received the parcel, signed for it. By the time I opened the parcel, what I saw there was admission from Nigeria Institute of Journalism meant for me. I was so much excited. So when I got admission to Nigeria Institute of Journalism, the school is in Ogba. Unfortunately for me, there was a doctor that we have worked together at the state hospital before, who within that period has relocated to Lagos. Dr. Adedeji was a former General Secretary of Nigeria Medical Association of the State Chapter that year. He has relocated to Lagos. Interestingly, he was living in Ikeja axis. So when I got gained admission, I just put a call across to him. I said, Doctor, I'm being given admission at NIJ and I'm looking at staying with you in Ikeja because where he stays to NIJ is about few meters. You just take a bus, get to the school, come back. And to my surprise, the doctor did not deny me that opportunity. I started staying with him and the wife. But one other thing that I will never forget in my life, my journaling story cannot be completed without making reference to that couple, Dr. and Mrs. Kayode. They are so superb. We only met while working in the hospital. We are never family. I was accorded that love, affection. After that, then I told you I was working as a civil servant at state hospital. At a point in time, General Babangida was head of state at a point in time. He now reduced the retirement age to 10 years, contrary to the previous age, which is 35 years. He reduced to 10. And at that time, I've spent 13 years in the civil service. So I just thought that I think I have to leave to face journalism profession. So I submitted a letter of retirement. When the PS then saw my letter, the permanent secretary, he was so surprised. He said they should call me. He said, why are you leaving the service at this age and having spent just few number of years? I said, I thought that you have to go. He was not convinced. He said, I am too young in the service. He will not approve my retirement letter. I should go and give it a second thought. So he took my file. They call it KIV, that is keep in view. My file was keeping in view. Thinking in another 2 weeks, I'll come back to change my mind. After 2 weeks, he called me. I was with him, the PS. He asked the same question. I said, Oga, I just felt I have to go. He said, is there anybody frustrating you? Or are you being victimized? Why must you leave? I said, nobody victimized me. But at the same time, I just thought it's hard time for me to leave because even the president has reduced the number of retirement age. The permanent secretary was not still convinced about it. He now said I should go and give it another thought. He gave me another 2 weeks. So I went. After 2 weeks, he asked me to come. I went to him again. He asked the same question. Then I told him, I said, Oga, I have made up my mind. I want to leave the service. It was at that stage the permanent secretary asked me a question. He said, okay, when you leave now, what are you planning to do? I want to go and be practicing journalism. He said, do you know anything about journalism? He never knew I attended journalism school. I said, Oga, yes, I did journalism. I attended journalism school. That is the more reason why I want to leave to go and practice. He said, don't bother yourself. If that is the case, what I will do for you is I will transfer your service from the hospital management board to Ministry of Information. In order to make sure that I stay, because he was worried. He was doing this genuinely, and I quite appreciate him. But I insisted that I am going. What was my reason was that I just sum up that when I get there, all what I'll be writing is the governor says, the deputy governor say, the commissioner say, and I believe that this will not give me the opportunity to exhibit my skill in journalism. That was why I rejected that offer, because I know that by the time I get into the information, I will not be able to write what is expected to be well written. I may not be critical on some issues. So I decided that I would leave. So I was able to convince the permanent secretary, and at that point, he has no choice than to allow me to go. So I left. After I left, I now applied to Daily Sketch for a job. And one other thing that helped me in Daily Sketch was that when we were called for interview, for the fact that I've been giving them materials, they have been using it, it was an added advantage for me ahead of my colleagues when we had that interview. So I was given employment by the Sketch. I remember the editor then was late Ido, was the editor of Sketch then, was one who signed my appointment letter. So I started to work with the Sketch. And life continues. I was doing my job, things like that. At a point in time, Sketch was almost getting collapsed. And in journalism, we move from one organization to the other. And one other thing that helps journalism is that your byline get you a job in another place, even without having any other interview to pass through. Because I can tell you that aside from the daily sketch that I attended an interview, all other places I've been working, I have never been called for an interview. And because of that, I work in a number of mini organizations after leaving sketch. I work at Searchlight newspaper, Daily Times, Post Express. I work at National Interest newspaper. I work at Leadership newspaper. I also work at Third Eye newspaper, Next newspaper. I also work at Premium Times. It was the Premium Times online newspaper I worked last before I established my own organization known as Penpushing Media. And I want to use this opportunity to say this, that talking about my career in journalism, I have some mentors that I look ahead to when I was going in journalism. One of them is former governor of Nguzis, Chief Olusegun Oshoba. One of my mentors. Another person is Professor Idowu Shobowale. In fact, Professor Idowu Shobowale employed me to the public newspaper. He was the one who employed me, signed my letter of appointment. Other person is I Chief Toladini. All these are veterans. And I have another one, Awafolu Olamiti. He's also one of my mentors. I have numbers of them like that I look ahead when I was going in journalism. I can say this boldly that it's always good to have focus. For every higher institution I attended, I sponsor myself. I was a student at Nigerian Institute of Journalism, I said earlier on. I was a student at Ogun State Polytechnic, which is now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic. At a point in time, I was a student at Ambrose Ali University, Abeokuta campus. But along the line, there was a challenge towards our final year at Ambrose Ali University when the federal government announced the closure of satellite campuses. And we were asked to move to to continue the courses. But because it wasn't convenient for me at that period, I had to withdraw from that program. Now, when I started the journey of Penpushing, it all started in my sitting room. How do I mean? I was having issue with my telephone, this Android. And I called some of these guys who always repair phone. The guy came. Now, while he was doing that, a thought just came to my mind, which I called instincts. And what was the message was, you, this man, you have been in journalism for some number of years. You have paid your due. The issue of social media is almost killing journalism. What is going to be your own contribution to revive or to address that problem? I now thought of getting involved. Like they said, that instincts told me. The next thing that came to my mind was that I just told him, I said, you help me to do something before you leave. That is after he has finished, he repaired the phone. Help me open a platform. Then I was having the feelings that what name am I going to give the platform? So in the course of that, I never knew that a name I've been using when I was practicing as a journalist will still be relevant as of today. What do I mean? For every car that I use, I have a sticker. This guy is a pen pusher. When I was thinking of the name to be given to that platform, and I looking, I said, pen pusher is like a noun. If I say pen pusher, I have limited that name to myself as a person. Now, and I look, I said, what is the role of pen pusher? The role of pen pusher is to push pen. And when you say pen pusher, job is pen pushing. That was how I got the name pen pushing. That was how I named the name, the organization Penpushing. I said you should put pen pushing there. He did that. While he was doing that, I was now thinking of who and who to be accommodated in that platform. The first person I called was the former governor of Ogun State, who is also a veteran journalist, Chief Olusegun Oshoba. I recall when he was the governor, I was part of member of press school following him there. So I put across to Chief Segun Oshoba. I said, Your Excellency, sir, a thought came to my mind and I'm planning to do this, to open a platform that is going to be for media affairs, things like that. I want you to be part of the platform. As God wants it. Baba Oshoba told me that if it is you, go ahead. I should had him. I was so excited. I did that. I started making other contacts. I contacted the former governor of Ogun State as well, Otunba Gbenga Daniel. He did not deny me that opportunity. He said I should go ahead. I called Ambassador Sharafa Tunji Ishola. He also gave me the opportunity. I called Oba Kabiyesi Olufemi Ogunleye, who is also a veteran journalist. The Kabiyesi is late now. He said, Dimeji, whatever you want me to do, I will be in support with you. I should go ahead. I added him as well. I called Professor Oyebida Kobe, the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos. He accepted. So I started making calls of individual professionals and we started that journey together. But I make it a point of duty that we will not entertain anything falsehood, any fake news. It is a standing rule on that platform that we maintain till tomorrow. And I want to appreciate God that we started about 7 years ago. Nobody has ever decided to say he's fed up from leading that platform. So when that journey continues, a thought just came to mind again that this man, now that you have started this platform, you should look ahead to start your online publication. The platform started July 19, 2016. That was when I started that platform. So he said, you have started this platform. Why don't you get it registered? I did the registration. As God wants it, we are given certificate from Corporate Affairs Commission to make the organization authentic. One day, Apostle Lawrence Shajulibe, the General Overseer of Victory Life Bible Church, who is also a member of the platform, just called me one day and said, I said, yes, sir. He said, this journey you have started, you don't know where it's taking you to. I was surprised. And when I later realized that he must have seen this thing in fusion. He must have seen this project progressing spiritually. How do I mean? Because I now discover that that statement has come to reality today. So the next thing is, this thing said we should start organizing annual lecture. I decided that I must have editorial board. The first person I picked as the chairman is Mrs. Funke Faduba. She's a renowned veteran journalist. I chose another boss of mine, Mr. Eddie Aino, who was a former director of the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission. I chose Femi Shodunke, who is also a veteran journalist, as a member of the editorial board. I picked Dr. Goke Rauf, who is today rector of DS Adegbenro Polytechnic, as a member. Then another veteran, Yemisi Fadairu, and to give our job a legal backing. Just like we have a legal advisor as member of the editorial board. So we pick Barrister Benjamin Ogumodede, who is our legal advisor. And interestingly, Barrister Ogumodede was my secondary school teacher. So by the time I decided to pick him, he was so much impressed. I wouldn't know whether any other online newspaper in Nigeria has editorial board, but I can say boldly that we have, and I think we started that. So on the issue of starting a annual lecture, we picked some number of members on the platform who serve as planning committee member for the anniversary. And in the course of that, we've had about 6th anniversary lecture now, which were very successful. We have been moving, we have been progressed. Talking about my relationship with Baba Sanjo, he knows me very well. I recall in 2015, I was in his house one day. I was discussing with somebody. He just said, "Happy birthday to you," referring to me. It was at that period Baba Sanjo walked around that place and had that congratulatory message. He now stopped. He said, when is your birthday? I said, Baba, yesterday was my birthday. I said, if that's the case, I'm going to do a party for you. But that he was traveling outside the country that very day. When he returns on Sunday, he's going to host me. I thought this was a joke. He came back from abroad trip. Before I know it, I was invited down. He asked me to bring guests. I invited some guests there, things like that. So for every menu, drinks that we took at that party, it was Baba Sanjo that handles everything. I recall that in the course of that party, Baba, while he was speaking, he said many things, but there are two issues or two vital comments that I so much held to my chest when he was speaking. The first one, he said, Dimeji, what we are doing for you today is what we call Tomodeba Mawawe Abagbaje. That is, if you are very responsible, you dine and wine with the kings. That and he prayed that I will continue to be relevant. The other thing he said was that they said journalists are bad. He said, as far as concerned, not in your own case. I was so amazed about that statement. And Baba has been there for me. And I recall that I have been here. I went straight to Baba Sanjo. I told him, I said, Baba, I've secured a new office apartment and I want you to come and visit it. He was here. Aside from Baba Sanjo, Chief Olusegun Oshoba has been here, the former governor of Ogun State, former ambassador to United Kingdom, Nigeria ambassador to United Kingdom, Ambassador Tunji Ishola Sharafa, has also paid us a visit. Former deputy governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Tunde Lemo, has been here. We have received number of patronages here. We have a lot of stories to share. When we talk about the hazard in the profession during the June 12 crisis, I almost lost my life. What happened was that I purchased a baby food for my daughter then. So I was going home to deliver that baby food at home. But you know, as a journalist, if there is crisis like that, we have the liberty, the opportunity to move around. Because we are part of those they call essential workers. So I was moving towards home. There was no vehicle trekking. I was stopped at a junction by some soldiers. I never knew that Abacha of those days has changed the army. Those from the north have been brought down here. Those from the west have been taken down to the. So immediately they stopped me. They asked me question. Who are you? I said I'm a journalist. That my response was as if you put fire on a petrol, or you put petrol in a fire. Before I knew anything, it was a merciless beating. Gun boot on my head. Bah. So at a point, the instinct told me that you should never pretend as if you are dead. So I fell down. I pretended as if I was dead. It was at that stage, those military moved away, but I heard them say something. They said, let's go, this one don't die. Thinking I was dead. So they left. But after they left, the neighbors, they came to me, rescued me. It was that I was taken to hospital. I was given treatment. But one thing I want to say is this, and I thank God for being alive. The baby I was to be killed because I went for his food. Today, he's resident in UK. Today, he's happily married. Today, she has her own child. She has turned into a grandfather. But all those things The tribulation, is it police harassment? Is it military harassment? Is it even individual, organization harassment? That does not deter me. It's part of the risk of the profession. That does not deter me from the profession. And I want to say this. Journalism to me is like eating pap with moi moi. It's a job I love with passion. And I do say it. If I get old and older and pass over, if they practice journalism in heaven, I will continue there. If there is a opportunity to come back to this one after one's die, I will still practice journalism. I recall when I left NIG 37 years ago, Baba Jebu, Chief Adedeji Kesinti, constructed a media center for that school. I left that school 37 years ago, as I said. But the school authority wrote me, gave me an invitation to be part of that ceremony. It was something that is I'm full of joy with. So I was there as old student of the school, and I took time to get to my former class. On getting there, I met some younger ones. I was looking around, and they were surprised. They were saying, they were looking at me and saying, "What is this Papa is looking at?" So I was forced to ask them question. Are you a student here? They said yes. Is this your class? I said, this is what my class. I came to check my class. They were so amazed. They said, Daddy, we've not been born at that time. I encouraged them. I spoke with them. Then when I was leaving, those students were so happy. They called me. They said they want to set up a platform that they want me to be there so that I can be guided. I said they should go ahead. They took photographs with me. So they have created that platform. I'm there with that platform with them. And that's why I engage them, I enlighten them, I educate them. So to make sure that they fall in love with journalism. And in the Penpushing, we have trained over 70 interns. They have passed through us in Penpushing. So it's something we do. And we also do what we call corporate social responsibility. We have people we have sponsored to school, particularly the less privileged. We support them when it comes to having donations. The donations to them, we are at Stella Obasanjo Children's Home, Motherless Home, one or two things. Then on Penpushing, you can visit our website. We have our online TV as well. And in fact, it was one of the challenges that took me back to Princeton University. I went there to study broadcasting. Online TV is pure broadcast affairs. So that was what took me back to Christian University to know the nitty-gritty of. So today we have our online TV as well. So if you want to reach us, because we also do a live coverage globally. We've done it for a number of personalities. We did it for Oni of Ife, Sharafa Ishola. We did it for late Kayode. We did it for Chief Bode Mustafa and most of others. If you want to visit our website, you just go to the Google and type www.penpushing.com.ng. www.penpushing.com.ng. And if you have any news for us that you want us to help you use, no matter where you are from, you can access our email. Our email is penpushing@yahoo.com. penpushing@yahoo.com. So you can always send your materials there. We are there for you at any point in time. And our office presently, our corporate office is located at Leme Axis of Abiola Way. It is beside Vital Foam Depot. We share the same fence with that depot, and we are on the second floor of the building. I want to thank everybody for taking time